Yeah.
I put that on. And let it be known like that. I'm going way back. If I ain't say his name, who wasn't here at this one? Huh? Yeah. I don't know what's happening to Latoya. Latoya is working.
Yeah, Latoya was nice too, right?
I probably like wind it up a little better and all that. I probably like wind it up a little better. That would probably be my favorite Just Ice jump off.
What?
Just Ice when it comes to a line, wind it up. You better
make it
on time. I said, my love, respect. I'm only getting respect.
Yeah.
Yes, because you are the hip hop gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that nigga, yo.
That was probably my favorite jump off.
Well, yeah, that was one of my favorites. Besides Rock, he was one of my top. So what's my camera at, man? I want to take a flip.
He used to come to my block, Harrison. It's yours. What was that name of that guy?
Tila Rock.
Yeah, he used to come to my block.
He did that It's Yours joint.
Got TBC Round, Universal 7, I Got Sincere, Supreme Divine,
One of my brothers in here.
Divine Be Wisdom,
Then they had that
Peace,
the Zodiac.
SW.
Zodiac.
So we got some good news. We wait till we get a couple more people. When a couple more people come in, we'll scroll through some of that. Some of the good news that we have concerning the nation. In the meantime, what's going on out there in the midst? Now July.
What the fuck is my camera, man? This shit is bugged out, bro. I want a fucking camera, though. Facebook camera. That ain't what I want, though. Guess I can use that, right? Facebook camera.
The DM you sent me?
Huh?
I didn't get a chance to check it. Hold on, I'm gonna check it in a minute. What it was about, though? Can you put the link in the comment box? I'm not sure if I don't know if I'm a big enough YouTuber yet for that. Queen Mecca. What's going on, Queen Mecca? What you been up to? Down in the low country. Everyone, other than that, everything's been, I guess everything's been smooth. Let me see if I can check this story real quick. That BC Round, he should have you should make like a website like this.
Top to bottom.
Oh, you clicked on.
I didn't get a chance to check mine.
You didn't pee on, right?
Now, I'm with Jerusalem. I stay up in the polo grounds now.
Hey,
Yeah, nah, I gotta check that later.
I thought I took it over. I'm not
Yeah,
going.
get another one with the glasses. All them shit went off.
You got a sensitive phone. Let's just stop right now.
But what was the deal with that story? What was that about, VC Realm?
And what that? Shit, oh shit.
Has everyone done it each one teach one? I haven't done it each one teach one myself.
Sit there like what?
This shit. Big. You can't see. Stop. Take pictures, man. Free stuff.
Take a minute, share this. Let me share this on Facebook real quick.
Are you gonna leave the room?
You know, we got a handful of people that
Oh shit.
check this from over there.
Are you going
Put a sound to it.
to?
Oh man.
All right. So what we got here? I missed something here. You say, VC Round, you say, and they got stopped by neighborhood adults that happen to be around. They tried luring and snatched them up in a white van. Two little, so somebody tried to kidnap some babies and I mean, you said they got stopped. What do you mean? What do you mean, stopped? You know, that can have different connotations. They can have different connotations depending on what cipher you in. But you know, that's great though. That the community is together at that level. You know what I'm saying? That you know, it's
Anybody coming, I'm in the back.
it's people
I
that
should have it.
is not only righteous, you know what I'm saying, but also willing to speak up. You know, sometimes that got to go hand in hand. You know, sometimes you can just be righteous and just mind your business. But sometimes, in order to be right, you gotta say something or do something. You know, so it's good to stay sharp. Carve out, you carve out a good slot for yourself in the world. In you know, suddenly all the problems seem like they belong to everyone else. But see, sometimes, let's deal with today's degree. See, that's what it basically boils down to. You know, when you deal with today's degree in the 1 to 40, you know what's right, right? And you say something or do something to show it. So, hopefully that story can go viral, and provide a different type of example, you know, that the people didn't pull out their phones and just film the white van driving off with the 2 little kids. That's the type of thing that happens now. Got Jack King and Divine Truth, 793rd. Oh, so they held them until the cops came. I mean, hey, listen, they did what they did what they could. In the meantime, they was verbally berating them and hitting them and telling them not to cover their faces and asking why they driving around trying to snatch little children. JR, peace. I mean, those 2 gentlemen can consider themselves fortunate. I would say. Fortunate that they got caught by some good and decent people with love and forgiveness in their hearts. So good. What's the deal? I mean, I can't tell right now the way I got the screen. Why is you waiting for a few more people from the With It I Miss crew? Then we're gonna make some announcements. We got some good news this time. Be sure, because be sure to say because if the youngins like teens was or 20 something could have parked them permanently. Yeah, sometimes that's a good thing. Malik Low. You understand what I'm saying? You can fertilize. You can fertilize you can fertilize another generation or something. Can't do no more bed here. Bishop said was watching the closing arguments in the Derek Chauvin trial. Defense asked the judge for a mistrial due to wording of prosecution. The judge denied it. So how has the like what was, you know, what's the you know, the smart money is on who? Prosecution and the defense. You had to say for your assessment of whatever parts of the trial you saw, right? And you had to make a prediction, not a speculation, a prediction based on the knowledge and wisdom that you've already observed in a situation, right? What would you say the outcome is looking like? Has anyone else been paying attention to it? The trial, that is? And how are the opening arguments looking for what's the lady's name? The cop that shot the brother. See, that's when you know it's getting bad. When you know what I'm saying? When the cop that shot the brother in the car. And then you got the other cop that shot the kid, that the 13-year-old kid. Don Bishop said, my money is on the prosecution. The defense whole argument is merely speculatory, but I've also seen obvious cases that didn't go that way. Shaquem, I mean, you're right. You know, like I think I said on here before that when I really saw that, you know, the defense knew they didn't have a case is when they started calling all of these experts. The expert in what? You're an expert. You wasn't there. You're an expert in. But, you know, you got to pull in all these other people like that, you know, an expert on, you know, violent police interactions. You know, you got to call in a police use of force expert. Yeah. What this means is you have no case. So now you got to cloud up everybody's judgment with the word of these experts. Dude, how expert you got to look, how expert you got to be to see what we all saw. I think is that gaslighting? Is that what it is? I think that's it. I think I got it now. See, we all saw it right there on TV, but you're gonna bring this expert on to gaslight us. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure why it would be effective, but I think that's what it is. You see, like I said, I see right through it. I don't need an expert to tell me what I saw right there. So I'm glad that I went through studies, man, to develop a scientific mind. You understand what I'm saying? Where, you know, I know how to analyze these things for myself. You know, even when they write in all their professional, you know, jargon, you know, I still know how to decipher it and get to the truth. JR said, I just hate that it comes to a prolonged state to convict the devil. If it were us, they would have killed us or threw us under the jail in less than a week. I mean, you know, see, for me, I'm used to it. You know what I'm saying? That part is really, some of this you gotta chalk up, God, to uh self-preservation is the first law of nature. And that even counts for the colored man, the original Mr. 120. That even counts for the colored man. You know what I'm saying? It's certain things, you know what I'm saying, that he's gonna be forced to do because pressure busts pipes. You see what I'm saying? See, some things, it's just an amount of pressure that's put on. You understand what I'm saying? It's not necessarily where you can say, well, yeah, this person right here forced this person to do that. But a person could be put under a amount of pressure where even if by mistake they make the wrong decision. And so, saying that to say that, we've seen that this is how we've progressed over the years. You understand what I'm saying? In many fights, many struggles that seemed impossible, right, was from relentless pressure. You see what I'm saying? That we put on them, whether you peace, whether you agree with the people. What's going on, Doc? All right, whether you agree with the people and their peace, huh? Yeah. Whether you agree with the people and their philosophy, right? Maybe the different ways that they was going about solving the problem. The different ways that they was going about solving the problem, right? You might not agree with. You see what I mean? But if they kept up an amount of relentless pressure, right? You see change come about. You understand what I'm saying? Whether it was Martin Luther King, whether it was Frederick Douglass, whether it was the Panthers. It's not a decisive battle. But over time, we've seen that pressure have an effect. But you gotta realize that, look, they're gonna go kicking and screaming. Not because necessarily they dislike you, but everything goes kicking and screaming. Right now, if you take an insect out, whatever buzzing noise, whatever flashing, whatever it can do, is going to do it to try to save its life. So, it's really something, right, for us just to deal with the preparation of understanding, right, that no particular thing is when we say heaven don't exist, right? It also means here on this physical plane, right, that is no particular thing that's going to happen, and then that's going to be the promised land. See, like now we look back, right, and we can analyze, like, yo, what was those brothers thinking when they thought that, integration was, this was going to be the thing? Like, yeah, well, it's integration. Yeah, that's it. We good. Pack it up. Freedom, justice, and equality from here on out. Like, nah, son, that's not the promised land. That's not heaven either. You see what I'm saying? Just like right now, you're saying, and I'm not saying, I'm not speaking out against it. I'm just saying in terms of if you looking at that as the promised land, right? Speaking on reparations. You know what I'm saying? Like if your mentality is that, we're going to give reparations, and then that's going to be it. Like it's not going to have to be no knowledge and wisdom behind that in order to really to make the best part of it. Because at the end of the day, that can't go past 6. See, the same way you could take that money and build yourself up, you can break yourself down. And so just saying that just in terms of whatever, that you're dealing with, you know what I'm saying? Understand that this is a game of chess. This is a game of chess, and the individuals that we playing against, right? They have some characteristics, right? That is natural to them because of the mathematics that they was created from. See, Yakub had a whole plan set up, right, before he executed his plan of the 600 years. First, he had to execute the plan, right, of getting the followers and all of that. And getting them to, see what I'm saying? And then when they finally get to Pelon where they can really get to the plan, now this plan is 600 years. And these are the people that, you politicking against, on whatever level. So not saying that to say, saying that to say that, okay, we know what it is now. We that's a known aspect of the interaction between us, right? So now we shouldn't fall victim anymore. Right? Because we know what it looks like. We know what the nothing looks like. So you first get the knowledge and say he likes the devil because the devil gives him nothing. You're like, wait a minute, whoa, wait, what? But see, now that you guys supreme understand and you're able to see that, right? You're able to have an understanding of what happens at the trading post. You see, we go to these different trading posts every day. See, right now on YouTube, there's a trading post, just people exchanging all types of ideas. Some of them you might agree with, some of them you might don't agree with at all. See, the difference is, I know what I came to do, I know what I'm doing. I'm not the one falling for the okie doke about the more gold at some other time. See, I'm dealing with the GOAL. See, that's the difference. So, they're gonna have their things, you know what I'm saying? It's just a lesson because look, this was a question, right, that I was asking since last year. But for a quick minute, it seemed like everybody was going to jail. The people who killed Ahmaud Arbery, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, the grand jury was open about Breonna Taylor, Chauvin and all his co-defendants, all of his co-defendants was him and his crimes was indicted. You know what I'm saying? And then slowly, one by one, different people started getting off. Grand jury declined to indict in Breonna Taylor. You know what I'm saying? Remember that point where I said, look, is you can see that they sprinkling a little crack on everybody. And by that, what I mean, you know what I'm saying, is you know, a lot of times, at least in New York, right? If something happens to a person and they don't want to deal with that person, then they'll mention what type of crimes this person is into. Sometimes not even what they're into now is what they've done in the past. All of a sudden this will become a part of the news story. Drug addict found dead over here. Drug addict. See, we can just move right on past that. See, now if it says, honor roll student found, you see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people before they smoke crack, they was an honor roll. See, if they told you that, it would be something different, just in the perception. So all of a sudden, Ahmaud Arbery, he has a history of theft. George Floyd is, he's high on drugs. Breonna Taylor is a drug dealer. See, because I already know how it works. So these things, they don't shock me. Not that it shocks you either. But just saying, that this is the type of mindset you got to really have about that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to just understand that was a masterful move. Like how you was able to free the slaves and not free the slaves. How was you able to do that? How was you able to integrate the schools and yet somehow the schools is more segregated than they ever were? These Jedi is strong. IB. This Jedi is strong. And so, like I said, man, sometimes you got to just look at that. See, some things, it's like, look, if a person show you how to tie their shoe, right? It's just a science to tying shoes. And you gotta learn it. All kinds of people tie their shoes. They just learn the science of how to make that particular type of knot, right? That's a particular kind of knot right there that most people use to tie their shoes. And you could just learn how to be successful at tying that knot. You know, tying a tie, that's a different type of knot. So by the same token, you know, sometimes you gotta look at a move that's made, you know, especially when you're talking about on this level of 6, and we're talking about on a social level. Sometimes you got to look at the pattern of success, right? And then be able to apply that for yourself, be able to review the history. Of course, you're not going to repeat what they do. See, it could be anything. It could be a dish that you used to eat, right? And now that you don't you know what I'm saying, you might used to eat a dish, right, that had beef in it. And now you might be vegan. So you still make the same dish, right? But you put some other food in there in the place of where the beef would have been. But you took the formula, right, of the recipe for success and you applied it for yourself. So that's how we got to look at those things, man. You know, when I was born, came in. All right, now I was born. Let's see, now I was born for a minute, right? Allah will manifest. Allah will manifest. We got a question in the room for you right now. What degrees you knowledge Allah will manifest? We, I mean, let's see. All right. So we got a decent amount of people in here to get the word out for us. Now, here's the good news. Wait, hold up. You was calculating from the 1 to 10, add on the 1 to 36. All right, listen, I don't recall exactly, but I don't recall that being what it is. See, we going back and forth here. But at any rate, though, the good news for everybody to get out, um, I mean, I guess that's not, we'll go with the small good news. But I mean, if you saw it, you would see that it's the way the guy did it is fantastic. We got some new lights. We got some new lights, right, at a law school in Mecca on the outside. So in the nighttime, when you pass now, looks like Vegas. If you got a telescope, you probably can see the law school from wherever you at right now in the nighttime. So that's a small victory. But the real news though, that's really, I was being funny. But the show improved. The talks are starting to look good. Starting to look like there's going to be a show improved this year. Why, son? True self. What'd you say? I guess you on face value time. But yeah, though the show improve is looking good. Now, right now, uh most of the events that I know so far that's being planned is very directed towards the children, which that's what the show improve is. You understand what I'm saying? Uh so in terms of the performances and all of that, like it's being put together, different people is taking the initiative to work on different things. So as the weeks progress, I'm gonna be letting y'all know, you know what I'm saying? But right now, we're looking at the 12th and the 13th. You know what I mean? So especially if you're gonna be traveling out here with children, you know what I'm saying? Uh the show improve is looking like it go. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm gonna keep everybody posted. How can one contribute? Well, hold fast for a second. You know what I'm saying? Not right now. I'm gonna let you know when we got the plans a little more worked out. But like for instance, we're gonna have, of course, we always have food. We always have food for the babies. You know what I'm saying? So we got like some different events. We're gonna be out here with the boxing for them and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Other people that got things going on. But in terms of whatever food we have out here and whatever other events, I don't know, they might bring the bouncy house out. You understand what I'm saying? So, once we get to that point, I'll let you know. Other than that, what else we got going on in here? Tommy Robinson. That's some of the old schools coming. But I'm sure nobody tell when West Coast Wise comes in, right? Nobody tell West Coast Wise. Like if he comes in late, right? Don't tell him about the show proof. Just listen. Because Wise said he already get his ticket, right? He said he already get his ticket. So look, if he say, "Yo, what's up with Sean Proof?" Be like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's up in the air still." That's what he get. That's what he get for being late. Yeah, I didn't understand that statement either. Wise you. He said something about being on face value time. Even though, like I said, see, I'm telling you what it is about face value. Scientific. See, face value is poor evidence on its own. You know, just that's why we got 5 senses. Because one sense is not always enough, for us to draw up what something is. You see how babies is, right? You know what's about babies? They ain't got their scientific process down packed. They got the tools, right? But they don't know which one's which. You ever notice if you give a baby something, they don't know what it is, or they do, they put it in their mouth. This is another way to see what it tastes like. Let's they bang it on the ground, see what it sounds like. What it was. They got to take it through the different examination processes, the different tools that they have to observe the world around them, right? But they don't really know what the tools is and how to use them yet. So the same way you see them examining things from all those different angles, right? Stuff that, look, they want to touch it, man. Let's see what that feels like. And you like, nah, man, don't touch it. So by that same token, yeah, when you can't just take things on face value. But there is some things, that look, if I'm walking down the street, right, and I see something that's on the ground that looks like a piece of shit, right, I'm not going to examine it. I'm not going to pick it up. I'm not going to smell it. I'm not going damn sure not going to taste it. I'm not going to bounce it off the wall, hear what it sounds like. I'm just taking it on face value that it's shit. Now, it could be $1 million and I miss out by taking the chances. Generally speaking, you don't want to take things on face value. So you never know what you got, good or bad. So right now, we sitting right here on the surface of the planet. The planet Earth, we on the surface. We seeing the outermost face of the planet. But look at all of the things that you'll find, right, when you dig into the diameter. So the main thing you got to remember is that everything cannot be seen by the naked eye. As long as you keep that in mind, you won't take things on face value. Whoa, what's this? I heard some people count their degrees that way. Is it right and exact? Some people count their degrees what way? like 1 to 120 or something.
Shit.
But yeah, people, yeah, everybody didn't get their degrees. Peace. Everybody didn't get their degrees at one time. Everybody didn't get them in a specific order. You know what I'm saying? The order came out, you know, over time, the order developed. You know what I mean? So, you know, universally, the student enrollment is accepted as student enrollment. You know what I mean? It's kind of, you know, cut and dry why that one is first. You know what I'm saying? But then from there, you got basically people who they gave it out in chronological order that the degrees was written. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then some people gave it out in numerical order. You know what I'm saying? So you got 10, 14, 36, 40. And then you got some people that got it from baby food to meat. You know what I'm saying? So they got it in the order of rising complexity. You know what I'm saying? So they got 1 to 10, 1 to 36, 1 to 14, 1 to 40. But Jack King said the people versus the Klan. Now, what is the people versus the Klan? Magnetic. Black phrase from the Providence Plantations. Who was it? Somebody was from the Providence Plantations. I was thinking about you. Somebody who was out there. It was somebody from the Providence Plantation. I can't recall who it is. Yeah, what's the deal? What's going on up there on the plantations? B says Chauvin. I mean, I don't know. I'd be Chauvin. I think Chauvin is up the creek. I mean, personally, like I said, I just think the state of Minnesota is like, look, we don't want no more trouble, saying you're gonna have to bite the bullet. Like, look, even look, we give you a pardon in a couple years. Like, look, when I'm on the way out, but right now, you gotta go to jail. We can't afford this, my man. What you think about what's been going on in the political sphere in terms of the activists, the Black Lives Matter, the sisters from Black Lives Matter, and Tamika Mallory? That's a question for IB right there. Hold on, let me send the link out. Let me send the IB said they trying to throw Maxine Waters under the bus for speaking about the trial. I mean, Maxine Waters, that's like kind of her default state, is like right in front of the wheels of the bus, like at all times. Uh, I personally, I got a lot of mixed, in terms of how I see Maxine Waters. I understand, what I'm saying, her being, but I look at her as an appeaser. You know what I mean? Kind of token Negro to be put in place, to complain while, whichever powers is just allowed to do what they do. You understand what I'm saying? For me, there's really, I don't have a side, you know what I'm saying? Because, you could speak, in the grand scheme of things, you know what I'm saying? But, when you hear about the days of New York City in the 70s and 80s, that was Democrats and their policies, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, they do a lot of things that benefit original people. You can't deny that, that right now, if it wasn't for welfare, you would be seeing starvation out there. Now, of course, if it wasn't for welfare, you might not have the situation, the way it is in terms of the community being broke down in such a way where starvation is such a strong option, for, what might happen to some people. But, my point in saying all that, though, is still beware of strangers bearing gifts. That's something that that I've seen in politics, and it's an ancient, what's in it? It's an ancient idea. It's not a level of me just being paranoid. It's not a level of me. I'm just saying, beware of strangers bearing gifts. And the example that rang throughout history of this, right, is the Trojan horse. If anybody recalls, the Trojan horse, even when they made the movie, right, in Troy, and Brad Pitt and them got in the wooden horse, right, and then jumped out in the middle of the night and, brought death, hell, and destruction to the people who accepted that.
That's right.
So you have to be aware, right, of strangers bearing gifts. So, in terms of Maxine Waters and just different people that I feel is like, a little too beholden to the party line. Like, see, just because you're in a Democratic Party, that don't mean you had the total party line about everything.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But you fell in, because, there's a benefit in that for you, whatever it is. But IB is in the background, you know what I'm saying? Let's see what the guy thinks about that. Because, like with that too, it's something where, I don't think it's so wrong for them to be seeing some money off it. Like, if this is what they doing, like if you're talking about somebody that's devoting time to this, right? When we're not devoting time to it, right? If you're talking about somebody that's doing things that you would do, but you got to go to work and you got to pick up the kids at the school, et cetera, right? Or you would be doing it, okay, then yeah, why shouldn't that person see some currency? Now, the thing is, like with any other thing, this was, I'm just talking about, I need to see the work too.
See.
Like whatever you go to work and you do, right? At some point, the people need to see the work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like they need to see, okay, at the end of the day, we added up all the registers. We made this much right here. There's a profit. All right. The people over there, we didn't get no complaints. Nobody got killed. All right. The people over there is doing their job. See, I see the evidence. I don't need to come over there and see if motherfucker mouth the floor. So, when these things start to happen, the question is, all right, there's nothing wrong with you getting paid for the work. I'm just saying, where's the work?
Right. That's agreed. I agree with that. Hello? Can you hear me? Peace.
Oh, hold on. Is my sound down or your sound is down?
It must be my sound because I don't hear anything. I hear you.
All right, I just turned it up. Go ahead.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Peace. Yeah. First thing I wanted to speak about with what you said about Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters, with her speaking about the trial, they're trying to make it that she basically threatened the jurors, saying that if they don't come back with the right verdict, then people need to do what they need to do or whatever. So the judge is basically saying, because the defense attorney, he brought it up in the trial, and the judge is basically saying that he has a good appeal point with that. So basically, they already setting it up for an overturn of the verdict by her making that statement.
Damn.
So that's a major issue. Yeah, that's a major issue. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So and the defense attorney was basically saying that he'd been asking from day one to have the jury sequestered, and with all of this stuff that's going on in the media and now government officials speaking about the trial in this form, basically that's you already know how that's going to turn out when it goes to appeal.
Ah, man. Yeah, he gonna get a new trial, and that's what it's looking like right now.
Yeah, so that's a bad look. She probably shouldn't have made that statement, but I understood what she was saying. But sometimes she can't make those type of statements at this particular point in time.
Yeah, that's the professionalism. Politicians, that's what they always come out with. Listen, we can't speak on that right now. That's under investigation, or
Yeah.
you gotta know how
you gotta finesse it for real.
Yeah, you gotta say, listen, American justice, the wheels of justice is doing what they do. They turning, you know what I'm saying? I have full faith in the justice system to come to the right decision.
That's right. That's right.
You gotta
for real.
Politics when you get up there, man.
Yeah, but I think she spoke because more or less out of being fed up with what's going on and it being in the same place where this new thing happened with the Officer Potter, I think her name is, that shot the young kid in the back. So it's frustrating, and everybody's like, what, y'all better do what y'all supposed to do, but sometimes you gotta hold your belly, as people used to tell me, hold your belly. Just relax for a minute. Yeah, but speaking on the other situation, as far as Patrice Cullors and Tamika Mallory, first and foremost, I have a question to preface this, because I heard people tell me back in the days that they offered Allah a Cadillac and a gold watch. Is there any truth to that statement?
Yeah, a couple people offered them. The Japanese people offered them some money too.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, that to me that correlates with Tamika Mallory going and getting a Cadillac commercial. even though my son is trying to, he's trying to limit it, saying that she didn't do it on just to get money for herself or whatever. She did it so that people who was involved with the commercial was all Black people and all of these different things. The question remains now that you're getting money from a big company like that. What won't you do anymore?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And the same thing comes with Patrice Cullors. She's speaking about herself being a Marxist. However, as somebody, I was just watching a video last night where somebody was saying, now, if you're a Marxist, then how are you setting yourself off to be a capitalist by acquiring all of these big level properties? And, it's not something that's being distributed in a communal way. You're setting yourself up as a capitalist, but you're saying you're a Marxist. And at the same time, your organization makes 90 million in proceeds, and families that were directly affected by the cause you were fighting for, they didn't get any money from it, like Mike Brown's father.
Right. Yeah, I heard he was suing. Who is he suing?
He's suing Black Lives Matter as an organization.
Right.
So, I mean, these type of things, they don't add up. You say your organization is this, and then you bait and switch it to more of a LGBTQ type of platform. And then when you do get the money, now you're saying, and I listened to her interview with Mark Lamont Hill, and she basically saying that, people should go out there. There's government grants that they can apply for. But hold up, you're getting the money because you're saying that this is what you're fighting for. So all of these different branches of the organization that's out here, that's free and standing in all these different cities, they should be well compensated. But a lot of them had to disband because they weren't.
Right.
So, there's a difference between what you're saying you're doing, what you say you stand for, and what's actually going on.
Yeah, because, the thing that you were saying in terms of the question that you asked, like, what won't you do now? That's the same, question that it hits me, a little bit different perspective in terms of like now, right? Like, where will your loyalties be? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say, for instance, you got these let's say you got these particular endorsements, or whatever, affiliations with these particular brands, right?
Mm.
And, there's a situation that's extremely unjust, right? And so now you're telling the rioters, that they shouldn't do that. Are you saying that because of their safety? Are you saying that because there's a better way to accomplish this? Or are you saying that because your corporate sponsors have money invested where there might be some protests or something? You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. That's the issue. So this is the main factor when it comes to the movement, why it's not really acceptable to get these corporate sponsors, because now you're beholden to them, as opposed to if we on a grassroots level raise the money and you receive the salary in that way, or you were compensated in that way. It's just like inviting the devil into your window.
So what about the situation with Jay-Z in the NFL? Is the jury in on what that was about?
Well, I'll say this. Colin Kaepernick wanted to get a deal. So how are we boycotting the NFL if Colin Kaepernick wanted to get in the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I understand what Jay said. We beyond kneeling right now. Like, we're trying to do something. Now, what other forums have we made millions and billions of dollars beyond sports and entertainment?
Well, I mean, that's definitely because I was just maybe a month ago, I looked at the list of billionaires, and the vast majority of them was affiliated with sports or entertainment. Well, sports is entertainment in general.
Kanye West is worth
Oprah
1.8
Winfrey,
billion.
right? Kanye West, Tyler Perry. You know what I'm saying? These is the people. Like there was a couple of people. Robert Johnson is kind of in the middle though, because he's a businessman, but his business is entertainment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? But there was like a couple of other brothers that, they was like in banking and stuff, different things. But the weight is definitely towards entertainment in that topic.
So I know with him being in control of whatever he's doing now, as far as the entertainment aspect of the NFL, he has a lot more say in the people that he could put in front of that forum and the things that they could say. But at the end of the day, it's all a Coliseum. It's all a Coliseum. But how do we parlay those funds once they go in there and get it? That's the major issue. Are we gonna take the people in those forums gonna take those forums, take that money and build the community? Because if they're not building the community, it makes no sense for us to support them. But if they are, then that's a good way to get that mega income, that wealth, so that we could parlay that into jobs and different services within our community.
I have a conspiracy opinion on that. And that is that they choose very carefully who they allow to get that money. And one thing I noticed across the board, pretty much with those people, right, is they have some people that's very close to them that they crossed. Like they got some people that's very close to them that they cut off in order to get close to that money. You know what I'm saying? And so from a standpoint, right, of the colored man, if you would shit on your own family, some of these people, you would shit on dudes that you came out the sandbox with, et cetera, et cetera. We don't really got to worry about you looking out for just your everyday random Black community member. Because that's just not, that's not you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just something that I observed from being close to the entertainment business, is that those people are chosen very carefully. Like when you see the people with the volatile emotions and, they mentally disturbed, Reverend Britney Spears, Michael Jackson, et cetera, et cetera. See, those people are chosen because of their mental instability. Because the people who they need to manipulate you and take your money. So they can't do that to, that's why, by the time an artist get 25, they like, yeah, look, we gotta get rid of you. Because now you know the ropes. You understand what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And so if you notice, whenever there's a split between the label and these people, then there's all this news that comes out that's been going on the whole time. It's like, yeah, well, why you didn't say nothing all this time? Because you was using it, you was holding it above their heads. You understand what I'm saying? To manipulate them into doing whatever you wanted them to do. So, by that same token, I think, my opinion is that that's why that's happened. You know what I'm saying? That's why, there's not a Harry Belafonte. You know what I'm saying? There's not dudes that, I never like, what's the dude's name? Dizzy Gillespie. Because I just didn't like that he always was smiling and he always was around white people. You know what I'm saying? But when civil rights came up, he was like, yeah, that's the move right there. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever it was that he contributed by that time, you understand what I'm saying? but I'm saying that this, crop of people, right? And then, right, on top of that, right, or whatever you want to say, underlying that, right, is also the social level that we at right now with the individualism. You understand what I'm saying? Where, you don't even see family groups no more. Like the Migos is the last family group. You know what I'm saying? Like before you had the Jackson 5, the Gladys Knight, the Pips, the Isley Brothers, you know what I'm saying? Like dudes don't even be a group with their own family no more. Because everybody gotta be a boss. You understand what I'm saying? And so,
Right.
It's difficult to be a boss, right? And deal in equality at the same time because you're not going to be able to separate yourself from the other people if y'all all got the same thing. You see what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
And all of that is a part of it, you know what I'm saying? Where like a motherfucker can say right now, right? Like think about it. Jeff Bezos can say right now, you know what I'm saying? I'm just holding on this 20 billion right here. Like I think I can live off of this.
Yo.
I think I probably could make it. I can scrape by with this 20 billion. You know what I mean? Look, the other 180 billion, okay, y'all have it, man. Give it to the poor.
Right.
You see, if he do that, he wouldn't be number one. It would take away from his story that you took this company from rags to riches and everything, and you made all this money. See, it's the competitive thing. Right now, you got a better story than Bill Gates, a better story than Steve Jobs. You see what I'm saying? And all that shit is a part of it.
Yeah, but he's under fire right now too, though. Because if you look at what's going on, what happened in Alabama, right? They tried to unionize. They wasn't able to do it. They wasn't successful at the end of the day, but it speaks to the labor practices of Amazon. And people really shouldn't be supporting Amazon. Amazon is really too powerful right now. And we really shouldn't be supporting Amazon the way we do because the people that are working for the company are being oppressed. And that's something that came out in this whole Bamazon, Alabama, where they was trying to unionize and Amazon was fighting against them and trying to stop them at every turn with this unionization. So, I mean, nobody is above scrutiny.
Yeah. I mean, the level to which the corporate world is like in control right now. You know what I'm saying? The way the law is drawn up to where, like you have a situation with Amazon, right? They'll be like, look, you did something wrong, so look, we're going to charge you $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, they make billions of dollars every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And so it ends up being a small price to pay. If after 10 years of making $3 billion a quarter, you're going to charge me $500,000, kind of the risk, the reward outweighs the risk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we see it where, they have the power, on a political level, right? Mm-hmm. They got the power over certain elements of the Constitution.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like your freedom of speech and freedom of the press, you know what I'm saying? Due process, all these different things, you know what I'm saying, is at least in some way affected, you know what I'm saying, by the internet. You know what I'm saying? Even the level of, the way, once the internet came about, it like immersed us in media. You know what I'm saying? Like before, you interacted with the media, you watch TV, you read the newspaper, you listen to the radio. You know what I'm saying? But now you're in constant connection with the media through your phone.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, these companies, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, the two things that I seen, you know, adding on to what you saying, man, that really makes people look the other way is that, you know, they come kind of saying that they bring in opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember in New York, like 2 years ago, they were saying they wanted to build some kind of warehouse out there in Queens, you know, and it's going to produce X amount of jobs and everything. You know what I mean?
But they wanted a tax break.
Right. And not just that, but from what I heard from different people, you know, wherever they live in, because West Coast Wives was talking about that a little bit, because he's in Seattle, or people that's in North Carolina, you know what I'm saying, San Francisco, like the Bay Area, different places where these companies have come. It was like, listen, it in the long run, it never pays off.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think that's like a major issue, you know what I'm saying, in terms of original people. You know, not saying that that's the goal where everybody's going to be, but when you deal with those type of companies, you know what I'm saying, this is where, you know, like not just Amazon, but just these different big corporate entities. You know, rather we going way back in the days of General Motors and whatever, you know what I'm saying, or rather we talking about Amazon, you know, these is a lot of jobs for original people. You know what I'm saying? And if you know, the impact that they having on the economy, you know what I'm saying, on top of whatever, you know, the rest of the impact that they have, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's not it don't look good for the future of original people. You know what I'm saying? You know, at least economically, when you have the biggest corporation, right, is doing certain things. You know what I'm saying?
For one, he's not paying. For one, simple thing, he's not paying the people that work for his company enough. They're not paid. They're not being paid a living wage. That's
Right.
number one. Now, also, I've seen interviews with people that have worked for Amazon, and they saying like they constantly feel like they're under the threat of being fired. So what does that mean? That means that when they're at work, they have to constantly be on the lookout of performance. So they're constantly being asked to work faster, work faster, work faster, work faster. And it's an assembly line type of job. So now you're just being pressed and pressed and pressed and pressed. And it's like, you know, the panopticon, they're always watching you. Big Brother's always watching you type of situation. So, you know, they don't have any type of power in that situation. And without a union, then they don't even really have to be paid any type of benefits, any retirement, anything like that. And they could be let go at any time. So that's extremely dangerous. Now, also, another thing that's an issue with these big companies like Amazon, Facebook, and they was all called in front of Congress not too long ago because they are too powerful at this point and they're not controlled by the government. So that means that they are able to do unscrupulous practices and not have any type of judgment for it.
Yeah. And not just that, but they set a certain tone. See, like how you were saying, see, when General Motors was the biggest company in America, right? Like you said, those was union jobs. Those was jobs that if a person got in that job, they could be lifted out of poverty and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Motherfuckers went to GM and put their kids in college and shit like that.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is that as the biggest company, right, it sets a tone for all the other companies.
That's right.
Like if that's what they doing, then this is what we got to do to compete. If GM is paying like that and we don't pay like that, then all the best people going to GM.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when you could live the American dream back in those days. That's why a lot of people came from the South to the North during the Great Migration to work at these factories and all of these places like GM and Ford and all of these different companies in Detroit and coming to New York and California from the South. But now another thing that people don't think about though, when they talk about people coming from the South to the North, is the fact that a lot of those Black people that were coming from the South to the North were coming to bust unions of white people that was already working those jobs.
Right. And listen, that's something, just in terms of right now, you know what I'm saying? You seeing a lot of that going back and forth, amongst the different people in the diaspora, with people, to me, it's that Black people from America or the people who is in the leadership of the ADOS movement, they're not able to communicate in a calm manner, what they mean. You know what I'm saying? In terms of how the colored man is playing everybody off of each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they're not, and that's one of the things they're not explaining, is that the reason why we're experts on how he play everybody off against each other is because he's been playing us off against people and playing them off against us for hundreds of years now.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? I personally, I think I could end the whole debate. I could end the whole debate between, it's just the I think the situation is not being explained simplistically enough. And sometimes I oversimplify things, but this is what I would explain if I was at the leadership of the ADOS movement. In a way, see, because when you start explaining it in a certain way, right, then it seems like you're blaming everybody.
Right.
And not explaining the situation. This is what I said, listen, this is what I would explain. Let's suppose you got a new bike. First day you get the bike, you didn't even get a chance to ride it good like you wanted to ride it. Your parents is like, look, we gotta go somewhere, you gotta leave the bike. So you leave the bike in your yard, you close the gate, you go wherever you're going, you come back, bike is gone. You looking for the bike, the old lady's over there, she's like, yo, I heard something in the backyard, I looked out the window, I see this kid riding over with your bike, man. Yeah, I don't know who he is, I ain't seen him around here, right? So you like, damn, can't find the bike, you look over there, you can't find the bike. So then, your cousin comes rolling down the street and say, hey, man, look at my new bike that I just bought. Look at my new bike that I just bought for $10. Now listen. Now you say you just bought for $10. That's my bike, man. He just came in my yard and stole my bike, man. You know what I'm saying? Now listen, man. You the cousin. What do you say? See, that's the question right there. See, look, in America, the way how we grow up,
we expect for our cousin to say, "Oh, word, this your bike? Come on, let me show you what a nigga has so we can fuck him up." Yeah, so,
Yeah, that's a fact.
let me show you where I seen a nigga where he showed me the bike so we can fuck him up.
Yeah.
See, that's what we expecting. We're not expecting you to say, "Well, I bought the bike fair and square. I didn't steal it. I didn't even know you had a bike."
That's a fact. And that's what they gonna say nowadays. That's the fact. That's what they gonna say nowadays. For real. That's the
We're not
crazy part.
expecting you to say that, son. We expecting the first scenario.
Right. But they cut different now, though. They cut different now.
Man.
I remember seeing a meme the other day. They said, "Oh yeah, I remember growing up. We used to know all our cousins. We used to grow up and eat together and be at a certain family member house and this, that, and the third." He said, "Nowadays, these kids don't even know their own cousin."
Right.
And
Right
that's
about
the
that.
issue. So it's that communal feel, that family feel, that joint is lost. So in a scenario like that, it's like, man, this is my bike. I bought this.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And listen, hold up. And then here's it. Now look, here's another part of the story. Because like I said, it's emotional, a lot of parts of it, right? Because now, as the cousin, you gotta understand that, look, I'm tighter with you than I am with the nigga who stole my bike. I don't know this nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had no expectations of this person. You know what I mean? You always gonna be the most, you know what I'm saying? Your feelings is gonna be the most hurt when the disappointment of the expectations. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like I said, I think if people could just, you know, understand it in that type of level, where nobody's saying you stole the bike. We just saying that, look, you just didn't know that, look, they sold you a dream, saying that you was leaving whatever trials and tribulations you was leaving and coming here. But when you got here, they really brought you to a war zone.
Right.
And, you know, in a war zone, I mean, look, where's your Red Cross hat? You know what I'm saying? You better be the Red Cross or the Red Crescent. Everybody else out here is on sides. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no other motherfuckers out there.
I got a question about that. So, you know, just to take it to the degrees, right? It says in the degree, yet a trader made an into orientation that we will receive more gold, which is more than we was making in our own country, right? Mm-hmm. I want to know, like, for instance, in the countries we came from, were we really working for gold? Or was gold symbolic? And the labor that we was doing, what was it? Because in my understanding of history right now, most of us was working like on a vassal side for the king. So were we really working for gold?
Well, there is a division of labor, right? A division of the slavery and the labor and you know, that extended to the conditions, you know what I'm saying, of you know, the different countries and the different regions too. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when you talk about gold, you talk about like mostly like Brazil, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have some Central America, you know what I'm saying? But like you said, in other places, you're gonna have sugar cane, you know what I'm saying? Other places, you're gonna have tobacco, you know what I'm saying? In other places, you're gonna have cotton, you know what I'm saying? There was no one particular crop, you know what I'm saying? You know, some places it's rice, you know. So when you're dealing with the gold, right, you know, in the silver too, you know what I'm saying, the gold and the silver, you're mostly talking about the Spanish and the Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's who conquered that part. You know what I'm saying? Where the goal was. So, you know, that was one of the reasons why slavery took on the type of the way the British did it was because there was no resources left for them like that. Like there was no gold. So like you saying in terms of the English indoctrination, in terms of gold, the actual substance, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, in terms of more gold for their labor, that's more dealing with the interorientation. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Where you got people like Nzinga, right, who first makes deals with them, and then she goes to war with them when she realizes that the deal is dirty. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, she more or less did that for her. She did that for her brother, though. Like this new book that I'm reading right now on Queen Anne and Zinga is basically saying that, you know, when she made that deal for her brother, she went there basically as a liaison between him and the Portuguese, right? And when they said that she sat on her on one of her servants' back, right? Because the Portuguese governor didn't give her a chair, so she sat on her servant's back, and they had to build like that, so she would be on the same level. But anyway, the reason she went there was because she went there as a liaison for her brother, who was the king at that point, and she made the deal with them, and she actually converted to Catholicism. But when she came back after that, she told her brother that he better not ever do that. That he better not convert to Catholicism, and he better stay with the traditional religions around that way. And after he died, they didn't want to honor her as queen. That's why she went to war with them. Yeah, yeah. So
you know, like I said, it gets complex in terms of that. But like I said, that's more dealing with the trading posts. You know what I'm saying? In terms of because you know, as the slaves, you understand what I'm saying? You know, they not really being promised nothing.
Nope.
You
So
understand what I'm saying?
it was saying that in this book, they was basically saying that trading post that they had built in Angola, because you know, a lot of us talk about Elamina Castle, that's in another region. But in Angola, they had built the trading post. And basically it was the priest that had came there first, right? The priest came there first, and then they brought a governor from Portugal to be there over the situation. And what they did was, originally, most of the people that was in that region, like they had it set up in the different precincts, and you had different tribal leaders that would be in control of that precinct, but they all had to pay tribute to the king. But once the Portuguese came there, they subverted the king, and they said, no, you got to pay tribute to the Portuguese and to the crown of Portugal. Yeah, so that's how that thing switched up. And that's another. So one of the tributes that they had to give a certain amount of slaves every year to the king of Portugal. So that's what I'm saying. When it comes to the goal aspect of it, it seems kind of weird on that aspect, because I don't see us as trading for gold. Like, I mean, even if you go back to Mansa Musa is the richest man there ever was. There many people all across all different paradigms to say that Mansa Musa was the richest man ever. And they have a picture of him on the map with a big ass gold nugget in his hand, right? They talk about him going to Mecca and changing the economy of every city that he came through just by spending gold in that trip. But I don't think that he was distributing the gold amongst his people as he was. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. And there's another factor too that you can't leave out. You know what I'm saying? And this is in terms of the Europeans was on it like that too. You know what I'm saying? Everybody at that time is looking for gold so they could fight each other.
Right.
Like
That's right.
people is depleting, like places that got gold, they depleting it faster than they can mine it, or however they get it. They depleting it faster than that by going to wars. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, this is what is like kind of the advantage, these different kingdoms that it's in Africa, North America, India, all over. You know what I'm saying? These different tribal warfares is what they exploit. You know what I'm saying? But that ends up being the story of a lot of the modern history that we got right now is people running out of money fighting wars.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then whatever ends up being the fallout from that, they end up getting taken out by these other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, the French and Indian War, the French and really between the French and the British, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They had a war over like the Ohio Valley area.
Mm-hmm.
And Britain won the war, but they spent so much money winning the war that's what made them do the taxation. When they said taxation without representation, all the T-tax and all that shit.
Right. Right.
So their mentality was, yeah, well, we fought that shit for over there where y'all at. We fought so y'all niggas could be straight. So yeah, y'all got paid. You know what I'm saying? And that's what led to the American Revolution, right? Now, the French king was upset because he had lost the British and French war. So he decided, I'm a back the Americans in this revolution shit. And then he spent up all his money backing the Americans, and then that's what led to the French Revolution.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying like how these things, even with, World War I and World War II, you know what I'm saying? A lot of these things, that's what it comes down to. You know what I'm saying? World War II, a lot of the, like when the kind of impact that America have on the world right now, you know what I'm saying? And for the last 100 years, is because the British Empire ran out of money fighting World War I and World War II.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So when they could not take care of their empire no more, America started taking over.
Yeah. And these empires is built off the free labor that they was able to amass through the slavery and the free land that they stole from the Indians. If it wasn't for these factors, they wouldn't have been the powerhouses that they was. The British Empire wasn't big like that before that time, and America wasn't even in existence, right? You had the Romans, you had the Catholic crown, you had all of these different people. But this venture right here that the person Columbus, whoever they want to call him, who started it, this was they come up, and this was the start of not only capitalism but white supremacy. Because before all this time, all of the riches belonged to the king, and excess is what breeds capitalism. Because without excess, how can you be rich?
Right.
So when we look, you say that you could solve a lot of these problems that they're having, like ADOS, and the stuff that they're talking about. But I think the missing component that they are missing is the stuff that's in our degrees. That's why you could solve their problems, because the stuff that Elijah was talking about in these degrees is basically speaking to these dynamics. Because the gold really wasn't the issue. They made the equivalent of the gold by having our labor. The only reason you need money is to pay for time. So they didn't have to pay for time because they had our time, and they was able to utilize our time to amass their gold.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that would probably be the best use of it. You know what I'm saying? Is to I'm saying like in reparations. You know what I'm saying? If it was used in a way where we kind of bought our time back. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So now, instead of you having to be caught up in the rat race, you know what I'm saying? You got more time to let your creativity and, you know what I'm saying, and everything initiate. When you too much in the rat race, when, you get home and, some days you don't even get a chance to finish your food because you're so tired, and then, you got to be back up. And, you don't have time for your creativity. Like all your creativity goes into the job. Like that's more than likely why they working you like that is because of how much creative power you're using over there. You understand what I'm saying? Things
That's a
that they
fact.
wouldn't be able to accomplish unless you came and applied yourself to it.
Right. I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? So, that would be one of the best things, not saying the problem with it, but just saying the obstacle I think in a lot of people's minds, right, is that like those things appear like in the short run, those things appear to be like less lucrative. You know what I'm saying? Like people feel like, they would rather do something like, they'd rather go to the job and just type on the computer. You understand what I'm saying? Than to
It's
actually
simple.
say, yo, you doing something where, you out there and you mining shit out the ground and you manufacture it into this thing right here, and you doing this business. You understand what I'm saying? You would rather just type on the computer, and this kind of convenience, and some of that, of course, it's like, look, when you got all this lifetime that you live, all this hard work, because see that happened, before, in terms of a lot of brothers that migrated up here from down south, they family sold land for them to move up here. You understand what I'm saying? But after 400 years of being in the fields, people are like, listen, man, I'd rather go press buttons down at the factory, man.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is like you said, okay, for that short period of time, if you're talking about the 50s and the 60s, right? Maybe into the 70s, but once you get into the 80s, you know what I'm saying? And once you really look at the statistics, a lot of that work that people is doing is for nothing, G.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying, if you're gonna work all this time and shit, and like at the end, you still gonna be living in the projects on Social Security, then that mean that the money didn't really work like whatever you thought it was.
That's because compensation has not increased at the rate of inflation.
Right.
That's the main reason why that is.
But I'm just saying in terms of people's mindset of like, what I'm saying is that you got people that they like, well, look, I'm not gonna have a family, or, I'm not gonna, develop my relationships with certain people because I'm gonna be in this rat race. You know what I'm saying? When investing your time and energy in that other thing, yes, what I mean, would have paid off more. You see what I mean? Like, for instance, that's what, like, if you had land, right? And it's like, yeah, you could have did the hard work, but you'd have been on your own land. And now, at least you would have fruits and vegetables. You might rent the land out to certain people or whatever, But now you go into the fucking supermarket with a welfare fucking shit, you know what I'm saying, to get some bullshit vegetables from there. Like, I'm saying, in the end, like the whole value, you understand what I mean? Like, money is a part of the value, but the whole value of it.
Right.
You understand what I mean? Like a
Right.
person could spend a whole bunch of money on something and it should still be worthless. You understand what I mean? And then a motherfucker could not spend no money on some shit and it should be priceless.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
definitely.
And I think like in terms of like when we looking at the whole value of shit, it's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? People in this rat race, and it's like, yeah, you're not really, you're not really getting nowhere from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they gene.
Yeah. Yeah. And another issue that we had was we was coming up here expecting the American dream, the white picket fence and all of that. But a lot of these home loans was being denied to us. So a lot of these middle class white families, they got their land and their homes through the government. But when we came up here to work, they said pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're up here and we're basically renting. And what I'm saying when I say compensation it has not risen at this rate of inflation. Basically, what I'm saying is the minimum wage right now is still $7 in many spots in the country. So what can you get for $7?
And even the places where it's 15, it's still the equivalent of $7 in other places because of the cost of living. You know what I'm saying?
The cost of living, that's right. So that's inflation. The money's not really worth anything. So it's an issue.
Yeah. I mean, those are the things, man, that I keep saying, and I'm seeing it happen, more and more, where, just the in-between time, man, when I say in-between time, I mean, in between unarmed police shootings, in between presidential elections, there's not enough progress. You know what I'm saying? It can't, every blue moon something happens so outstanding that we get on code, and I think that's something we gotta overcome too, which that's not unique to Black people, but a common enemy brings about unity faster than a common cause.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a common cause, it lasts longer. It keep the unity together for longer. It'll be more solid. But if you're talking about just getting on code, with speed, a common enemy of what? Say, look, we all got masks on. We all. Something's killing all of us.
Yeah, we gotta know who the enemy is, though. I'm a strong advocate to that. We really gotta know who the enemy is, because the enemy from 1900 isn't the enemy of today. It is, but it's a little bit different because the divide is so great right now that it's not really a middle class. So when we're fighting, like you got most of these people that went to Washington, D.C., a lot of us would look at them like, yo, those are our enemy. But what they're fighting for is the same thing we're fighting for. They really want jobs and shit.
Mm-hmm.
They really want to live the American dream. But they want to live the American dream by keeping other people down. That's the issue with their shit. But the real true people that they're fighting against is the people that they came there for. It's the people like Trump, billionaires and millionaires who sent a lot of these jobs overseas. But they being fleeced to think that he's for them when he's not really for them. Because most of these billionaires, they make their most money when they send the money, when they send the jobs and all of that to these other countries that haven't developed the rates of unionization and all of these different things yet, so that their pay rate goes up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the issue right now. How do we make allies with those that don't understand who the true enemy is?
I mean, I got an opinion on that too. That I mean, it really does just have to run its course.
Mm.
Like it literally has to run its course. You know, in terms of well, you know, I always use as an example, you know, Jamaicans specifically and West Indians in general, right? In terms of, you know, when I first started seeing them in big numbers, you know what I'm saying, in like the late 70s, early 80s, you know, a lot of them had a type of mentality that, you know, America is the land of opportunity, it's all equality there, you know, and, you know, the Black people that's there, they having a hard time because, you know, it's something about them, they're not applying themselves. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, now that they've been here a little 50, 60 years, you know what I'm saying? They listen, because I ain't like, yo, I see what these motherfuckers talking about, man. Y'all see, you don't hear them talking like that over because they didn't see. You know what I mean? Like once you come, just like you said with the brothers that came from the South, right? They first came up here thinking, oh yeah, man, you know, shit straight, man. Motherfucker don't get lynched up here, this, that. You know what I'm saying? But then after you was up here 20 or 30 years, you realize, yo, son, y'all niggas just got me on a different plantation, son.
That's a fact.
You understand what I'm saying? And now once I start realizing that, now my kids, they seeing me, you know, like, dude, you struggling, son. The fuck we doing that for? Look how niggas living right downtown, man.
Wow. Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I think has just gotta happen where you know, as people, because I'm just saying, just in terms of the way capitalism works, just if you look at it over the years, right? Capitalism finds some people that are dirt poor, you know, not eating every day. And like you said, they come in and offer a minimum wage. So, you know, now you can't get joints and none of that, but you can eat every day. But then, like we were saying earlier, okay, now once you can eat every day, now your mind is a little bit freer.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You got other shit you can focus on now because you ain't focusing on how you gonna get some food. You know? Now all of a sudden you start thinking, yeah, man, yo, man, why that person got his finger cut off on a job the other day and y'all don't even help him? See, now you talking this union shit. It's time to move on. It's time to find some other dirt poor people, right, that can take your place.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so even when you look at the economic history in America, right, they first started off, well, you started off going around the world, your plan is to subjugate whoever you find when you get wherever you at if they're not Christian, right? You know, then your next plan is you're gonna bring your poor people in, right? First with the slaves, right? And then you got your indentured servants there.
Indentured servants, right?
Right, the peasants. You know, we got plenty of peasants right there in Europe that were just nuts. You know what I'm saying?
They were slaves too.
Right. and then you get your immigrants, the Jews, the Italians, the Irish. Yes, I mean, we keep bringing in this new population of motherfuckers who, listen, by the way you describe them, they're tired, hungry, huddled masses.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And now they middle class all over America. Now, I'm saying at a certain point, right? like you said, now you move the outsourcing where you don't bring the poor people here to the factory. You take the factory to the poor people.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And so now they move all around. You know, when you hearing, oh, yo, they building this plant here, it's bringing up, really, yeah, that's where the poor motherfuckers is at now. So we gonna build some shit over there because these niggas over here, they asking for too much now. You know, now you want, you talking about shit like women's rights and shit now. Like, what the fuck? You wasn't thinking like that. You wasn't thinking like that before I started paying you.
Nope.
And so, like you said, in America, that's one of the reasons they have to beat down that class. You see what I'm saying? Because they start asking for too much shit. You know, we want clean water and we don't want you to build shit out of asbestos our house. Like, dude, you asking for too much.
Right. And you costing me too much money.
Right. Yeah. All this shit you talking, I gotta write this in red, son. This ain't black.
Right.
You fucking up the paper.
Right. You out of line.
Right. And so that's my theory is that shit have to run its course in different places. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, I mean, because it's a sucker born every minute.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's gotta reach a point where you know, everybody's kind of hit rock bottom. You know what I mean? We in that
white. You gotta add white fragility into that mix. You gotta add white fragility into that mix because, you know, they get desperate, they get different.
Right. Now look, that's something that I was telling people, man, for decades, man, is that, you know, once you came into a certain point, you know, in the 80s where the stock market started rising and everything, and, you know, colored people start getting friendly. Like this kind of new, you know, the world that I was born into, you know, is still, you know, we didn't fuck with them and they didn't fuck with us. You understand what I'm saying? You know, but now, you know, it's just much more, you know, it's you know, white people do hip hop, black people do play hockey, you know what I'm saying? like shit that we just say. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
my queen says people in the comments.
Huh?
My queen just told me it's a lot of people in the comments saying stuff. I don't know.
Oh, hold on. Let me get back to the comments right now. But let me finish this one thing. I seen that I was telling people that that's because there's plenty right now. Like everybody's eating. You know what I'm saying? It's like you know, sometimes even if you look on the African Serengeti, like out there in the live in the wild, where they got the lions and zebras and all that. See, when it's the wet season, it ain't look, everybody's stomach is full. We just out here partying, son. But wait till it get down to the drought time, son. when niggas eating once a month. So ain't no friends out here, B.
Right.
Ain't no friends out here.
That's a fact. That speaks to my favorite movie, The Matrix. And dude said, listen, either you gonna eat the oatmeal or you gonna eat the steak. Homeboy said he want the steak, so he stabbed homeboy in the back. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how this thing gonna go. That's how this thing gonna go.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why I say, you know, don't you know, allow yourself to be fooled, you know what I'm saying, about two things. You know what I'm saying? Number one is, you know, most colored people, most of them, is fully prepared to deal with equality, right? As long as equality doesn't include them having to give nothing up. Like, see, sometimes, when you talking about, like, it's, it's $10. You know what I'm saying? I got 6 and you got 4. In order for us to deal in equality with that, I gotta give you $1.
Yeah.
See, that's a step too far.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's like, look, if you want me to complain with you about that $4, yeah, why you say got $4? But see, you show like giving you $1 now, so oh no, I don't know about that. See, watch that. You know what I'm saying? And just really it's the same thing, just in terms of don't when shit hits the fan, right, is when you find out who everybody is.
I agree.
Yes, I mean,
I agree.
that's when the pressure comes, right? That's when you find out if somebody's a pipe or a diamond.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
So, right now it's one kind of way, but don't be misled.
Yeah.
As
We
far
gotta
as
expose Biden with all this equity talk. A lot of the bills that he signed when he first came in office, a lot of it dealt with equity. There's a difference between, and we spoke about this a few weeks back, the difference between equity and equality. And you got to hold people responsible when they're talking about equity, because equity, if it's true equity, then these issues is what's supposed to be being dealt with, as far as like the average income of Black households compared to white households, right? If they say that white households is over 100,000 as far as net income, and then Black households average income is 15,000 or 5,000. And I recently seen something where they were saying that the income that they're counting, it may not even be true income, because they counting the cars as part of that wealth. You understand what I'm saying? So if you got a car that's worth 10,000 after it drives off the lot, then they count that in. And really what you really got as far as liquid income is maybe 5,000.
right.
But these motherfuckers, they got houses, they got the car, they got the job, and everything else. So it's just a big difference. So if we're dealing with true equity, then these are the questions, these are the things that we truly address. These are the things, these communities with lack of education, these communities with lack of good income, lack of good housing, all of these different things. If we're dealing with equity, that's what we should truly be dealing with. We don't want to deal with equality because they already got more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, and see, that's why I didn't like a lot of the stuff that Obama was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like when you pass something and you like, well, this is gonna help everybody in America, but it's gonna help a lot of poor people, and because a lot of Black people is poor, it's gonna help them. I'm tell you the problem I have with that is that in economics they got a concept called the rising tide lifts all boats.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Actual fact.
But see, my problem with that concept, right, is that you still in the yacht and I'm still in the dinghy.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Like, yeah, like all you did is make it more dangerous for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if we was in 4 foot of water before and I was in the dinghy, look, at least if this motherfucker sank, I was You see now, wait a minute. Now you done brought the tide in. We 100 feet up. You in the motherfucking Carnival Cruise Line, and I'm in the dinghy.
Yeah. And the brother from Powernomics breaks that down heavy when he said basically when they're talking about being conservative, this is what they're talking about, because they're not giving up anything, right? They're not going to give up after all of this money, this rising tide, all this stuff that Ronald Reagan talked about, and all of this. They're not going to give up the money. Now they're talking about being conservative on the money after the government that gave them everything that they got already. So you're not even going to give the money to the people. That's why we stuck in the damn dinghy. This shit's fucked up.
You know, although I've been wanting to ask an economist, you know, how come I'm the only one who thought of trickle up economics?
Ooh.
I've been having this idea for a while now.
Well, that's kind of what Trump did. That's kind of what Trump did, though. You know that, right?
Yeah, listen, trickle up economics works better. All the stimulus checks is trickle up economics.
That's
the
a
tax
fact.
returns, trickle up economics. Food stamps, trickle up economics. Trickle up economics seems to work way better than trickle down economics.
That's why we can't find no parking now. We driving around 2-3 hours trying to find a parking spot in Harlem because you see all of these new dealer plates out here after these stimulus checks.
Yeah.
Can't even find a place to park no more, man.
Yeah, you give poor people some money, and that's why I said, listen, the amounts of money that I heard, right, that they was talking about for reparations, I was like, literally, that shit would just be like a stimulus for the economy, because, you know, if you're talking about like 200,000 or 300,000, right, the average Black person is more than 200,000 or 300,000 behind life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I'm saying, if you take somebody out the project, all right, you need a house.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
200,000 or 300,000 is base level.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got medication you've been supposed to take care of, you need to get. You know what I mean? You got people who, you know, maybe they got a little scholarship, maybe they got student loan, but they out in college starving and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that money would go right back. And the idea that it's going to go to Jordans and shit, listen, I bet you right now that the president of Nike is sitting up there like, fuck y'all motherfuckers, man. Like, listen, fuck y'all motherfuckers, man. So what if they want to buy a fucking Jordans?
Word.
Because listen, we need to see that bread, son. That's why I said it don't matter where they spent it at. If you spent it at fucking Popeye's chicken, God, that shit is going to show up on the stock market.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
That money would not even be, and like I said, you know, making fun, but I'm saying we're not even talking about frivolous shit. We talking about real shit that people need to do. Get all these motherfuckers out the fucking projects. You know what I mean? People, you know, people got family that, you know, look, if they had more, they would do more for them. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers would come out on the street and get their homeless family members and shit. You know, all different type of shit like that happen. You know what I'm saying? The idea that everybody's gonna waste it, you know, you might not be from the right place.
Wow. Damn, man. It's so complex, God. I ain't even gonna hold you, man. But I'm a strong component though that we got a lot of jewels in these degrees that speak to these answers, man. And that's why a lot of people don't, you know, they don't see what's going on because they don't see it from that paradigm. And, you know, I think we got to get back out here, man. We really got to get back out here and be everywhere and occurring in all things, because we got to wake our people up.
Definitely.
Actually.
Definitely. You know, and I mean, to me, you know how they say, yo, some people, like when you wake them up, you gotta be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people wake up wild.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of where the Black community is right now. Where they waking up, like, you know, motherfuckers ain't totally ignorant. Like you could talk even to a motherfucker that eat pig and they know why it's fucked up. They just don't care. You understand what I'm saying? You know, and I'm just saying that the people are slightly awake, like, you know what I'm saying? Even the people that believe in Christianity, they talking about this shit come from Egypt now. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Even,
Yo,
listen,
but Martin Luther King even said that though. You heard?
right. But this is what I'm saying. That right now, it's like the black community just got up and they bumbling and stumbling through all different types of ideas, you know what I'm saying, of, you know, who they want to be and what they want to do. You understand what I'm saying? And so, like you said, we just seeing the amount of confusion and, you know, there's some things that's ancient. It's a little bit distorted, but, you know, it's some things that they do, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to take away from, you know, people like her music or whatever, she's successful, but, you know, kind of the incentive structure that's out there right now. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that, you know, like if you take a personality like Cardi B, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's being a kind of tokenism, right? In terms of the amount of success that she's allowed to have, right? Is going to reinforce the idea that people should mimic her behavior.
Agreed.
You understand what I'm saying?
Most
You know,
definitely.
and you know, we've allowed, you know, quite a few examples of that to occur. You know what I mean? I think some things, like you said, in terms of getting back out here, but just like you were saying earlier, in terms of just people knowing their cousins, it just certain just, you know, basic principles of things, you know what I'm saying, that you know, we just allowed ourselves to be distorted in a kind of way where I'm saying that those principles got to kind of be reestablished before we could even get to the higher principles. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, I tell you something that I remember this from the 90s when people first started saying this, right? You know, I ain't mad at you.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And I started noticing that a person could be doing almost anything. Like a person could be a child molester, but if they're getting paid doing it, there's some segment of the community that's going to say, yo, you know what? I ain't mad at you, son. Get that bread.
Mm-hmm. Like
You
R.
understand
Kelly.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, like R. Kelly.
Hey, listen, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I think until we just get back to those, you know, basic levels like that, it's like, you know, we can have all the knowledge and the statistics that I see people throwing around, right? But you're still not gonna know what to do with it and shit. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, that was another. I don't know if you was running. We was asked. I had asked that question of just, you know, is you know, is the tribalism too great? You know, you know, just in terms of, you know, right now that's another tribe. You know, the cool tribe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You know, like the desire to be in that tribe, you know, you know, it causes people to lose total track, God, of the 9,000 miles. They go totally off course. You know what I'm saying? And some people been swimming in 9,000 miles, they didn't cover 27,000 miles. swimming back and forth. They ain't got home yet.
Zigzag zig, right?
Yeah, they zigzag and zigging all over. You out in the Arctic Ocean and shit, that ain't even in it, man. You know what I'm saying? But I think that, yeah, that's something that's got to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, yeah, it's just like those you know, basic things, man, you know, and, you know, just in terms of, I think, which we do that. That's a part where we do in the lessons. You know what I mean? But just in terms of like there has to be an updated analysis on the way propaganda and the different tools of misinformation and disinformation, et cetera, is being used against us. You know what I'm saying? The way, is a different ball game now. Like my grandfather, he couldn't read.
Yeah, my father couldn't read.
Yeah. So
same thing.
So the way they applied the establishment guide to them was a whole different way guide than us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not a whole different way. It's still, we know save the brown, save the unlight, destroy the light. But I'm saying, I could write this shit right here on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And these two would never know.
Wow. You
see what I'm saying? Now the different degrees of knowledge that we have and everything, you know what I'm saying? So just some of those basic things, we had a lot of times when we threw out the baby with the bathwater. You know what I'm saying? Where, like I said right now, he was illiterate in terms of the English language, grammar, syntax, spelling, all this type of stuff. But he wasn't illiterate about life.
Right.
See, now you got motherfuckers that you can read on a PhD level. Yes, I mean? But you blind, deaf, and dumb.
Right. That's a hell of a correlation. Hell yeah. I agree.
So, some of those levels that people was literate on that, you can't measure it with A's and B's. You know what I'm saying? Like, the motherfucker's illiterate, but he made his way out the sticks to New York. You understand what I mean? And eventually his grandson got the opportunity to gain the knowledge of himself because of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Facts.
He figured out that much. He got me right to the center of the zone where it was dropped. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I don't think any of our seeds should go to college without getting knowledge of self first, because they will spin the fuck out of you. Pardon my French. They will spin you. They will have you talk about some whole other stuff by the time you get out of that cipher if you don't have a firm foundation. And I'm so happy that I had a firm foundation before I went to college, because as you said, I'd have been out here talking about, LGBT or feminism or something else right now instead of trying to work with my people. They will spin you. Nowadays, if you listen to the newer activists nowadays, like Al Sharpton and them just had a convention, and they had the new activists that was up there, and the younger activists, they feel that it is their obligation to speak about LGBTQ.
Right.
When did that become our obligation, though? They got GLAD. They got GLAD. They got all of these organizations.
It's a couple things. You know what I'm saying? One thing is very much related to the Black Lives Matter and that whole movement, where it's like, okay, we're gonna show up at all of your stuff, right? And kind of ingratiate you. You understand what I mean? So now the average person, well, not the average person, but people that's in that mindset, right? That came through that, they look at it as, the LGBT community stood in solidarity with us when Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin, et cetera, et cetera. So we need to be in solidarity with them, and then you got to remember that right now, in the modern way that they have everything, right? You got the intersectionality, which says that all oppression intersects, somewhere. So right now, I think if you're a Black lesbian woman, you're the most oppressed person on the planet, according to this theory.
Yeah, but at the same time, as my queen said, you're still Black. She gave a bill one day at a rally. At the end of the day, you could go. It's all this intersectionality. Like the women that was in the women's rights movement. Eventually, they found out that it wasn't for women's rights; it was for white women's rights. Because when it came time for Black women rights and the stuff that Black women go through, the white women didn't support it.
Right. And see, ultimately, that's because there is no intersectionality.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what it is. It's like these are all different things. Like you might have a problem with the same person, but for totally different reasons.
Right.
Like, see, you can't, like, look, you're benefiting from white supremacy. You can say what you want to say. I don't know how we got the same fight then.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But between those kind of ideas right there, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing that I seen is that like they've been to school to study their oppression now. And so they have all these kind of theories, to me, they not really worked out. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of inconsistencies. But see, they go to school, meaning like, like we said with my grandfather, your father, right? They knew that the bank wasn't giving them a loan.
Yep.
They didn't know about the science of redlining and where it's coming from and who, but they knew they couldn't get a loan, guy. They knew the man's not letting me get a loan. That's wrong with my credit. I make more than this cracker you gave a house in Long Island. You understand what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
So they knew it, but they couldn't articulate it. See, these kids today, you done been to school for gender studies and Black studies, and you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. You understand systems.
Right, all of these systems and structures of oppression. Yeah. You gotta kill me with that shit, guy.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah. So they go to school for it and they study it, you know what I'm saying? But it's just not consistent. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, right? This theory supports what would you call it? Sexuality, transsexualism, transgenderism, right?
Trans rights, something like that. One of them.
No, not trans, because it doesn't support transracialism. Like if you could wake up in the morning and feel like a woman, why can't you wake up and feel white?
Right.
If gender is a social construct, and you're telling me that which I don't go for that neither, but I'm just saying if that's your theory, that race is a social construct, why can't this do, what's wrong with Rachel Dolezal?
Right.
What is cultural appropriation then? Maybe I feel Asian today.
Right.
Yeah,
that's how I get them. That's how I get them. Check what I tell them, God. I tell them, listen, all right. At my job, you had the whole situation where, they talk about, LGBT and, not being discriminative and this, that, and the third. So, okay, if the man feels he's a man, then you have to, if the man feels he's a woman, you have to call him Mrs. This or, she, her, and all of that, all of these different gender things and all that. So I'm like, okay, so if you want me to call you a woman, then I prefer to be called God. And that's when it gets quiet in the room.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Nah, wait a minute, hold on. I gotta give you credit. You just gave me a new idea. Look, that's what I'm about to put on all my papers now. That's my pronoun. Look, that's my pronoun. That's my pronoun for down.
Because this is I prefer to be called God. So you should if I gotta respect you in that way, then you gotta respect me in this way. It's only right.
Listen, I got one. They ain't ready for me yet. I already told them I'm about to go down to the bank and tell them I feel like a millionaire. He said, listen, right now, I need a couple $100,000. Listen, if you don't give me a couple $100,000 right now, that's discrimination, man. Word up, son. I woke up this morning, my ID said Jeff Bezos, motherfucker.
I identify as Jeff Bezos. So it should be a bunch of zeros in my account right now.
Basically.
And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's what I said. Say this stuff, man. You know, is when you really think about it, like, look, why can't we do transspeciesism? You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, what if I tell you, look, I feel like a seal. I want you to listen. Listen. I want you to look, don't throw a fish at me, hit me in the face.
Yeah.
That's how I be wondering, you know, how come these I don't know why other people don't think of these things.
I don't either. I really don't.
Yeah, when I'm sitting around, that's one reason why I come on here and talk. You see, I treat up crazy shit like that all day long. By the time y'all see me again, I have a theory of everything.
Facts.
But let's get into this comment section real quick.
All right, I'm checking out. I'm about to check out because I gotta
all right, yeah, no doubt.
Quick.
We're going to run it down after I run through the comment section real quick myself.
And peace to the God. Peace to the family.
No doubt. And also a reminder about the Sean Proof does appear to be in effect. You know what I'm saying? I was adding on with the brothers and telling them about how adding on with the brothers and telling them about how the appear to be shaping up right now. The way the events appear to be shaping up right now, it's going to be a lot of events for the young so far. I'm sure it's going to be some other things, but you know, as adults, as brothers, y'all know what to do. You know what I'm saying? We come together, show and prove. You know what I'm saying? But, it's right now. 12th to the 13th. Let's run down the line real quick here. See the love came in the building. Edward Green. We're gonna run down the line real quick before we take it out and get out of here. Catch up. Now, as Morn said, did y'all hear about, all right, Edgar Green? Thanks for that Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated, as always. Now, as Morn said, did y'all hear about the Black family in Manhattan Beach, California? They got their land returned to them after 100 years. It's worth $73 million now. I did hear something about it. I know I didn't hear it was $73 million though, but I did hear something about that. Man. Yeah, we gotta get into that on another live when we come back. Why son-in-law said Tamir Rice or Earth also complained about receiving no help from Black Lives Matter. See, that's what I'm saying. Is it's just it's not, that's work. These people putting their lives on the line, and a lot of times we look at things, right? And we look at the tragedy of it, but it's like, yeah, we in real time with a person. What I'm saying is this, Malcolm X's family went through a whole lot of trials and tribulations because, he received peace and happiness was the reward. He didn't receive anything, that he could leave them so that they could live a better life, let alone, the trauma and the scars that are put on him, you understand what I mean, from the life that he had to live and the way he returned. You see what I'm saying? So, to say that somebody is living, they have a crib or something, you know what I'm saying? It's not, I mean, like, does a person have to take a vow of poverty? Like, do you got to be homeless to really say you're an activist? But that being said, like, yeah, you leaving like a trail of people here that, I mean, like, what's the, and I'm sure the lady's not saying just, let me get $50. But you could have opened a motherfucking community center in Cleveland. You understand what I'm saying? The Tamir Rice playground where, look, you go over here and play, the police ain't coming and shoot you. Something. That's the thing. It's not just the benefit that you're getting, it's the benefit and then the lack of, things that at least that's being spoken about. Because, I don't study them to that degree. Maybe she got a whole list of things, you know what I'm saying? But does Mount Rushmore have anything to do with the devil's heads? You mean in the degrees? Not at all. JR said, do y'all think stimulus checks were a subliminal form of reparations? Absolutely not. See, listen, and I don't want to sound, as if I'm not being inclusive. But listen, if you're giving me something to pay me back for slavery, white people can't get nothing. I know that sounds. And look, we got white 5%. But guess what? If you giving me something for reparations for slavery, then how do white people get one? I compared reparations to the stimulus just in terms of just purely from an economic activity standpoint in America, meaning that this is one of the reasons, right, that would be against reparations is where's the money coming from? That you're going to take all of this money out of the economy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When the reality is, most of that money would be back in the economy within a year. You know what I'm saying? But it's definitely not reparations. Edward Green said, do we support them now, though? Do we donate to the Tamika Mallory's of the world? Who else was going to feed her and her family besides the corporation? I mean, like I said already, it's not, I don't have any problem, what I'm saying, with a person eating, what I'm saying, with a person having a car, having a house, having a family, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, we need to see the work. You need to produce some benefit for that. Fly Phrase from the Providence Plantation said, my brother worked in the Amazon warehouse a while ago, and he said he hated it because they worked him like a dog on that assembly line. He said they're always hiring too, no matter what. Well, that's always a sign that the job is hell. When they got that high turnover rate, where they always hiring and somebody's always leaving. Sarah 93rd said, I'm seeking clarity and understanding on the latter part you pointed out. Currently now in real time, when seeing workers of all races and backgrounds in these positions. I'm in the New York City tri-state area in New Jersey where people have and will commute from 5 to 45 an hour for work. Oh, you're talking to Edward Green right here. Yeah, having a little side rally. Get caught up with y'all. Divine Truth said he likes the devil because the devil gives him nothing, going off the idea of inclusion, obtaining the big home with the picket fence, the illusion of inclusion. Edward Green said, Allah said, be makers and owners. Absolutely. Edward Green said, most of us are the working poor. Larry Turner said, the enemy is the 10% and the 85% followers. Larry Turner said, we got to motherfucking teach, son. It's bad right now. Smell Good said, capitalism destroys homes. District 120 said, we got to teach, or do we got to take the devils into hell? The duty of God is to take the devil into hell, right? And the duty of the civilized is to teach he who is savage. That's a $64,000 question for a 5%. That's the $64,000 question for a 5%. It's a what they call it, like a razor sharp edge on that decision. But look, let me put a point on it for you. Not that you didn't already have a sharp point on it, but let me put it in this terms. Do you deal with the born degree in 114? Or do you deal with the 10th degree in 114? Just in the mix. When you come in amongst these people, this is a decision that you're making. Every one of them that you come amongst. Is literally a decision that you're making. And it's a decision that the person is making too, whether to do the knowledge. It's one of the things where, you got to learn who and what you got patience for. Meaning, like, it's some people that you will be more patient with them. Like, if it's somebody in your family, your cousin or your brother, or, somebody that you grew up with from elementary school, you might be a lot more patient, right, about trying to teach them. Somebody who's younger. You see, once you start to feel the 35 to feel, like, once you start to feel like I'm spending 35 to 50 years teaching you, then, in my book, you're crossing the line into being a sad person. And what happens to the sad person? FDJ Beats. Well, Magnetic said, a job is a job keeping you just over broke. Haley Green said, ownership is what we lack. 793 said, the value of long-term ownership needs to be better taught. And that's one of the keys too. You know what I'm saying? Is that, and I'm not saying that everybody that achieves success is dealing with affirmative action, but I'm just saying that, kind of like the, immediately after integration, you know what I'm saying? There was things to be taken advantage of. I don't really want to say opportunity. I'm deliberately not using that word. But a lot of the people who got into those positions, right, whether they was in the private sector, whether they was in the government, they wasn't able to transfer that knowledge to the next generations. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying that, your father could get rich at anything. But, you know, in order for him to really have, you know, a company like Ford, a family company like Ford, you got to be able to teach the sciences of, you know, engineering of cars and, you know, selection of materials and business and, you know, all of these different things. You got to be able to translate that knowledge to him for him to be even more successful than you. And so, you know, that's one of the reasons why gentrification, right, has been successful, you know, even in areas where there was ownership, right, of Black people, of the homes in their community. It was because they didn't, they weren't able to teach the next generation how to do the same, you know, how to maintain it and even grow it. So sometimes, well, all the time, you know, the knowledge is you know more important than the physical resource that can only go to six. Now, as Born says, indeed, we are way behind in financial education. Born Magnetic said they place fear in the mind when it comes to thinking big on ownership or a building level like that, and especially not having the awareness or know-how. If I understand it, said it has to be something in them to wake up. Yeah, you got that right too. You got that right. You know, or even, you know, you can wake them up, but they, you was looking for a doctor if there was a doctor in the house, and you got them up, but they don't have any medical skill. But you're definitely right about that. You know, sometimes it's, you know, that extra, that potential, right, to be who we are, that we put in the kinetic motion. You know, when we build with people and we give them this knowledge and wisdom, and they use that, man, to wake themselves up. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, the potential that we were speaking of, you know, it sounds good to them, but they don't have it. She's like, you go tell somebody about, you know, listen, you know, if you get in the NBA, you make all this money, you make $50 million a year. Yeah, that's the potential. Everybody that's under 22 got the potential. That don't mean it can be put in kinetic. You ain't, you know, your potential stop at that idea when I told you that. You ain't got it in you. Side rallies, you popping today, man. Y'all on the NFTs. I didn't get into the NFTs yet. It seems, I mean, people can hustle anything, but sometimes you gotta understand the hustle. Elwood Green said, I recall about 15, 20 years ago, someone told me that the civil rights movement is the model for LGBT. Um, yeah, and uh, you know, it was the blueprint for a successful, a group of people, especially, a small group of people being successful at, at least theoretically, putting themselves in the mainstream, making themselves an issue to the level, right? See, when somebody makes themselves an issue, when a group of people make themselves an issue to a certain level, they start to get representation in the government. And one of the first places you see them get representation on is the Supreme Court. Like if you look at the Supreme Court over the years, right, you'll see, you know, say like when you have civil rights, right? After civil rights, right? Now Black people is a major, political force. You see Thurgood Marshall get on the Supreme Court. You know what I'm saying? After women's led in the Equal Rights Amendment. Hold on for a second. Oh, yeah, after women's led in the Equal Rights Amendment, then you got Sandra Day O'Connor on the Supreme Court. You know what I'm saying? You get a lot of Hispanic people, and then you get Sotomayor on the Supreme Court. So, people following our blueprints in a lot of ways they want, but I'm gonna tell you something. One of those blueprints is one of the issues is one of the issues with feminism is that see, one of the reasons why the civil rights movement was successful is because they was able to identify the enemy. You know what I'm saying? So if the problem is that Black people don't have freedom, justice, and equality, right? Then white supremacy has to be the this is the cause of it. This is the enemy. This is the thing that we have to fight against and destroy in order to achieve what we want, right? So when you look at feminism, right, or LGBTQ, right, they have to do the same thing and identify the enemy. See what I'm saying? So, just like if what we saying is Black people is down, right? Then we identify whatever's the opposite of that is the problem. So if they saying that gay people are being oppressed, right? Then we have to identify who's the problem. and that becomes straight males. Same thing with feminism. So, you know, when you look out there and you see a lot of things that they're doing and saying, it's actually, you know, their version of what it is that we did in civil rights. That's a whole conversation. Justice Bourne. I praise for Providence Plantation. You old school, huh? You don't leave your money in the bank. Rome Fetty. All right. So we caught up in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Once again, like I said, tell everybody except Wise You. Don't let Wise You know that you know, the show improve is looking good for the 12th and the 13th. You know what I'm saying? If you got any kids, we're gonna be making some announcements on the events that we're gonna have out there for them. You know what I'm saying? You know, other than that, meantime, in between time, I'm about to wind this one right here down. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully everybody did the each one teach one already. Hit the like button, share this on your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, text messages, Facebook groups. And of course, we back in effect tomorrow at 7. I'm not sure if I'm coming in tomorrow. I might broadcast. I might broadcast on location tomorrow, depending on what time I make it, on what time I make it in. But at any rate, we'll be in tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Until then, I'm gonna say peace.